Guitar World recently released, I think it's their latest issue with Ozzy Osbourne, rest in peace, Ozzy, rest in peace, on the cover. And that's still kind of raw for me. Ozzy's death obviously was a huge impact, not just in the rock community, but me personally. No More Tears, what a classic. I probably listened to that album hundreds and hundreds of times. I'm going to at some point comment on that, but let's just put that aside from now and just give rock and roll thanks to Ozzy for all he's done and for the music that he's left us that will live on and on forever. What I want to get to is this article that I saw in that magazine about Spinal Tap. As you know, the second Spinal Tap movie is out now in theaters, and I'm super excited. I can't wait to go see it. I'm hoping to go see it this weekend, if not next weekend. But obviously, this took me back to the original This Is Spinal Tap classic. All you rock fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and I know you've seen it a couple of times. I mean, this podcast was named from one of that famous scene of the Marshall amplifier scene where Nigel was explaining that, his Marshall amp goes to 11, one louder. Oh man, that scene marked me so much. I was cracking up so bad when I first saw that. And, at the time I was actually getting into rock music. What a cult classic. Believe it or not, when that movie came, well, maybe you should believe it because, I think only people who are in bands or musicians or rock fans can really relate to that kind of movie. But when it first came out, it didn't do so well. It's picked up momentum as soon as it got into a VHS and video. And that's when it really started to become popular and now is part of rock history and a cult classic. Believe it or not, that movie, This Is Spinal Tap, it was mainly improvised. All the actors, obviously they had a script, but the script was more of a guide. I think more than 90% of the dialogue is just the actors kind of riffing away. And you can clearly tell in that amplifier scene. I think that's why it's so amazing, is because it shows that it's so spontaneous, what they're saying. And they're just kind of riffing off each other, which makes it so funny. This Is Spinal Tap defined, I think, the word mockumentary. I think it was the earliest of its genre in terms of mockumentary when it came out. There probably was some confusion amongst a lot of people whether this was a real band or not, which was, amazing. I think it definitely forged a way to shows like The Office or Best in Show, that movie, and maybe even Anvil. Anvil, another great documentary, but they were a real band as opposed to This Is Spinal Tap. They were just actors playing roles in a band, being musicians. And but one thing about these actors, I believe they actually played their own instruments. So that's really cool. I'm pretty sure I'm almost guaranteed not all of them knew how to play instruments, so they probably had to learn it. And I believe they actually went on tour as Spinal Tap, the actors, shortly after the movie came out to kind of promote the movie, which is really cool. Anyways, super excited to see this second movie. I can't wait. I think it's gotten some decent reviews. But I saw this article that I wanted to bring to you called Infinite Jest in Guitar World. And it is by Joe Basso and released November 2025, Guitar World, page 32. I'm not going to go through the whole article just in case you want to check out yourself, but let's dive into it. Let's just see what this is about. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. I need my damn podcast off that famous scene, so let's go. Ready? Here we go. Okay, all right. The article is called Infinite Jest. Like it or not, UK rock legends Spinal Tap are back in a new movie, a new outlook, and custom Marshall amps that go to infinity. Yes, actually, speaking of that, when that scene became part of pop culture, or rock pop culture, I should say, Marshall actually manufactured amps that went to 11, believe it or not. That's how much of an impact that movie had. And I believe Marshall actually, for this movie, made amps that goes to infinity, I think. So anyways, let's read on it and see if that's true or not. In a stupendously rare interview, legendary Spinal Tap guitarist Nigel Tufnel ruminates about birds, gear, cheese, blind Bubba cheeks, and so much more. Okay, in a 1992 Guitar World feature that celebrated the release of Spinal Tap's reunion album, Break Like the Wind, it was reported that lead guitarist Nigel Tufnel had been, at some point during the band's hiatus, mysteriously conscripted into the Swiss Army. It's a claim that Tufnel, speaking via Zoom from his home in the UK, now shoots down as totally bogus. It's just not true, he says. All right, okay, I'm not going to do the British accent. I apologize for that. Someone said that, and it's not a very good joke as well, but that's a separate matter, quote unquote. Tufnel is happy. Well, that might be stretching things a bit. To set the record straight regarding other persistent tall tales and canards surrounding him and the pioneering heavy metal band he co-founded in 1966 with singer and guitarist David St. Hubbins and bassist Derek Smalls, there's the matter of guitar strings. For years, it's been thought that Tufnel started out playing strings made of catgut. No, he says dryly, I think you've been put off a bit, either by yourself or someone who works for you. You've got some wrong information there. Catgut was used on early classical instruments, and then they went to nylon strings. I always played steel string guitars from the very beginning. I played a Sovereign Harmony. Then I got my first Gibson, and then I got Fenders and whatever. The answer to your question would be no. What is true is that for the past 15 years has been living a quiet life in northern England with his longtime partner, Moira. We're just on the border of Scotland, he says. I've got a cheese shop there, and we work together. He continues to play music, mostly with locals in a nearby pub. And he does some recording at home. But it's not for the public to hear, really, he says. Well, it could happen, as just so happens. It's not. It's just for me. When asked if the pub sells any of his cheeses, he's quick to stress that pubs are not really known for their cheese. Now, are they? If you know what a pub is, it's mostly people drinking cider or port or some sort of ale or lager. After years of career setbacks, Spinal Tap achieved sudden worldwide fame following the release of Marty DiBergi's Warts and All 1984 documentary, This is Spinal Tap. Yet the film's success left the band feeling somewhat dismayed. St. Hubbins told Guitar World that the movie portrayed the group as sort of a second-rate, great big joke, while Tufnel griped that he felt betrayed when he saw the finished doc. Decades later, those feelings haven't exactly softened. I think we were bloody angry because it made us seem as if everything we did was rubbish and went wrong in some way, Tufnel says. Marty DiBergi, the director, picked these things to show, but there was a lot of stuff he didn't show, like when we didn't get lost or when we weren't having a row. So we were miffed, as you like to say in America. Taking into account the band's misgivings about This is Spinal Tap, it's more than a little surprising that he chose to work with DiBergi again for an all-new film, Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues, in which the group reunites after 15 years for one final show. According to Tufnel, we had a long discussion, all of us, and Marty made a case that it made sense for us to do this new thing, which is us coming together again for a reunion. I haven't seen the lads for 15 years, and besides that, we had a legal obligation to do one more show. Asked if he felt that the new film might paint a more accurate portrait of the band, Tufnel says, well, I can't say why it will or not. There's some things in it that are upsetting emotionally. You see us getting angry occasionally, but there's some good things as well. I think it balances itself out, really. But I don't want to give it away. You'd like people to go and see it in the cinema. All right, so I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not sure if he's just completely in character and just riffing here, but it's pretty damn funny. Like, I really don't think they're a real band. I think they were just actors playing a real band in the movie. So here he's making it seems like, you know, he was happy with the documentary in reality. So it's pretty damn funny anyways. Like I said, I'm not going to read you the full article. I'm going to pick a couple of questions here, mainly about the new movie because I'm pretty curious about it. Okay, so first question. What are you hoping the audiences come away with after they see the new film? It's another view, maybe a more honest view of who we are as we are older people. Yes, but not just a catastrophe. There's always a balancing thing. Yes, bad things have happened, but they've happened to every single band that goes out on tour. There's more good stuff than upsetting stuff. Where are you talking? All right, so the new movie's called Spinal Tap 2, The End Continues. If the end continues, how is it exactly the end? So Nigel responds, yeah, well, you have to work that one out yourself. I can't give you the answer to that. Some of these things you're going to have to work out on your own, buddy. I know it's not something you normally do, but you're going to have to do some research. Go to the library in Verona. They've got a lovely little library there, and there's a woman there who will help you. Or there's a public library in Rumson that you might want to pop into. Between that and the other one, you're going to get all these answers to your questions you're asking me, which I don't know. I'd like you to clear up a few more things. In the past, Spinal Tap have turned down some not very sizable sums of money to reform, but a rumor persists that there were also very hefty fees offered for you not to reform. No, again, that's not true, Nigel says. In the old days, we had what you would call a lawsuit against one of our labels. They said at the time, this is 30 years ago, he says, we will pay you not to record. But now you see, we've made a new record and there's a new book and a film coming out. We're in a different place. You're in the driver's seat now. Nigel says, no, I'm not in the driver's seat, actually. I'm in the back seat. Moira drives me, and she's a very good driver. She takes me places, but mainly we walk or take our bicycles. Do you use a walking stick? Now, what would I do with a walking stick, he says. So obviously they're just riffing and having fun here. It's pretty hilarious. All right. Tell me about when you first met Jimi Hendrix. The story goes that you were at his first London performance at the Scotch of James. Nigel says, no, you see, again, I think you've been thrown off a bit by yourself, first of all, but by something else. I never got to meet Hendrix. As a young person learning to play, my main influence was Blind Bubba Cheeks. He was a great bluesman from the Delta. His records were quite rare. They were 78s. I had 2 of them, and I never met anyone else who had them. I'd play them for David St. Hubbins. He would sit around and try to learn the licks, and it was amazing. Blind Bubba Cheeks was really the great one of all those people, even more than Robert Johnson or Skip James, I would say. Jimmy Page, Jeff Beck, Eric Clapton, Eddie Van Halen, Joe Satriani. Nigel says, you're just naming names. You're reading off a list. What's the point? All of those guitarists have said they were somewhat influenced by you, but not by much. Nigel says, yeah, so? Look, if you listen to a guitar player, you take a little bit from him. He takes something from you. It's called an organic sort of way of learning. This happens with any musician. You don't even realize it. You listen to a song, you hear something, the tone, a specific effect pedal, whatever it is, then you might copy that. They may copy you, whatever. It's a natural thing that happens. Oh, man. That's cool to see they're having a blast here on this interview. In a new film, people like Paul McCartney, Elton John, Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Chad Smith, and Lars Ulrich appear with you. Nigel says, legends all, yeah. Do you think they're just trying to piggyback on your fame? Nigel says, well, I think no, because you may have noticed that those are very famous people, and they've been famous for a long time. I think the answer is no. They have their own thing. It was lovely playing with them. It was really a lot of fun for everyone, I think. How has your guitar playing improved over the years? Or do you feel that once you achieve greatness, you just stay there? I think that's the wrong term, quote-unquote, improve, Nigel says, because players always play. I still play every day. I play differently than I once played, and I'm learning. I used to play a lot of fast solo things, but now I'm listening in a different way to a spacious way of playing, which is more long notes. There's different effects, some backward things going on, and it's different. I wouldn't say I've improved, it's just different. As we know, your amps go to 11. Are there any recent guitar or gear developments you're excited about? Yes, Nigel says. For instance, Marshall has made for me an amplifier, the head, and if you look at the dials, it now goes to infinity. Just think about that for a moment. Think about infinity. Oh my God, that's literally infinity. There are lots of pedals that people have done in the last years that are quite extraordinary. Companies that make these pedals, which I use, and I do a little work on them. I take them apart and I do a little fooling around with the wires and stuff like that to get the sound I'd like. You tinker. I tinker, yeah. Lots of times I break them because I don't really know how to do that work. I haven't been trained, but it's interesting to open things up and see all the wires and move them about a bit. What do you think about amp modeling? No, people use it in studios to make records, but I like my amplifiers. Occasionally, I've gone direct when I record at home. There's something about pushing air, as they call it. I've got this great Marshall at home, a studio Marshall, and it's hard to beat. How much air do you like to push? I'll leave that for you to figure out. Any of your new songs inspired by Moira? I can't share that because it's personal, isn't it? This is the woman that I love, and I'm not going to say to you, this is what's going on because I don't know you well enough. I feel we're getting to know each other. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Nigel says, don't be sorry. I like the paintings you have. You've got a painting in a mirror, and it looks like there's a fireplace. It looks like some kind of velvet flocking on the wall. Is this a care home that you're in, or is it your own place? It's my own place. It's comforting and disturbing at the same time, Nigel says. Will you guys reform again in 15 more years? As they say in the States, do the math. What we would say is do the maths. When you're studying arithmetic in the UK, they call it maths. But you could play again in 15 years. People are living longer these days. Nigel says, yeah, I don't know that many people at the age of 100 are going out and doing gigs. People who are 82 are going out. That's not 100, is it? Look, we're all old. We're bloody old. It's weird, isn't it? And that was the last question of the interview. That's a wrap. Wow, I didn't read all the questions, but you can tell that just with their banter going back and forth, they're having a blast. I think Nigel, again, I think he's playing right into the character and just riffing off and having a good time with the interviewer, which is great. I can't wait to see the movie. If you've seen it, please let me know in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? How would you rate it? A 5, a 6, a 10, an 11? Let me know. The fact of the matter is, regardless, I'm still going to go see it myself. I got to see this Marshall amp to infinity. If the movie's that good, I might have to change the name of the podcast from It's One Ladder to It's Infinity. There you go. I hope you enjoyed this little snippet of the interview. I hope you're excited just as I am for this latest movie. And who knows, let's hope they do one more in 15 years, huh? How about that? Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.